What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's out. I saw it, and I have some thoughts on it. This is going to be a spoiler-free review for the most part. Like, in the end, I'll give you a little warning if I'm going to go into some spoilers for the ending, but I don't think I will because I want to keep this spoiler-free. I guess I'll start off by saying that I didn't think that it was woke or intersectional, feminist, or anything like that. I think that in comparison to a lot of the other Marvel movies that have come out recently, it's one of the better ones. Mind you, I haven't seen the new Ant-Man. I stopped watching Marvel movies after Multiverse of Madness. That movie was just so terrible that I was like, I'm kind of done with Marvel at this point. But I really wanted to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 end. I wanted to see the ending, and the ending was okay. It was okay. But I think it was a mid movie. For me, it was definitely an okay movie. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. But in comparison to Guardians 1, it's definitely not one that I would probably ever watch again. But Guardians 1 was something that was definitely stand on its own. And I think it was just another level of filmmaking, especially when it came to superhero movies. Now, with regards to my experience with this franchise, I'm not familiar with the comic books. So my introduction to Guardians of the Galaxy was from the MCU movies. Maybe it's more comparable to Guardians 2, which has a lot of flaws. I think this movie had flaws too, and I don't know if it's going to stand the test of time. There was definitely some issues. For example, for me, I thought the character of Nebula was kind of defeminized in comparison to the first movie and even the second movie. I thought that they definitely made it so that her outfits weren't as accented and you couldn't see her figure very well. She looked very manly. When this poster dropped, there was all this drama about her looking very masculine. And in this movie, it did seem like she was definitely defeminized. I think that's kind of part of the Disney agenda to defeminize women and feminize men. That kind of happened as well with the character of Adam Warlock, which I thought was very kind of an unnecessary character to introduce at this point of the game. And also he seemed very kind of like a mama's boy and just kind of very femmy. So I don't know. I didn't like that character very much. And honestly, I thought his character was kind of useless. And to be fair, I don't really know the character of Adam Warlock from the comics, but I didn't think that Adam Warlock's character was very well done in this movie. It felt very like a throwaway character. And from what I understand, he's not supposed to be a throwaway character, and especially within the comics, he's a very important character. And I thought his character had issues. Some of my other issues with it were mainly that I thought it dragged a little bit too long. I thought there wasn't enough screen time for Rocket, even though he was such a big part of the story. When they went into this backstory of Rocket, I just kind of thought that, okay, we get it. And I would have liked them to explore more a little bit about after what happens with him, that we all kind of already know what happens with him. So that's not really spoiling it. So I thought that it would have been better to kind of explore how he met Groot and things like that. But anyways, I don't want to spoil it too much. So I'm gonna move on from that point. There was definitely other characters that I thought did really well, like Dave Batista, and I thought Mantis was okay, even though her lines weren't that great. But Dave Batista, I thought, was probably the best one in terms of performance. Drax was really good in this movie. What else? The bad guy was really, really good in this movie. I thought the bad guy was excellent. The gentleman who played him had a great performance. And for once, wasn't like, oh, he's so misunderstood. No, he is a bad guy. And finally, yes, a good villain. And then there's Gamora. And I thought that Gamora, even though I really like Zoe Saldana's performance as Gamora, I thought that her character just didn't seem quite like herself, because it is not the Gamora we know. And I think there's a bit of a problem with that. And I think that I guess that's kind of like what I was expecting going into this movie, was to have that be resolved. And I didn't get that resolve that I wanted. So it just didn't, it kind of felt flat for me in terms of that. She just kind of comes out of nowhere, and they kind of like have this little talk about, where she came from and everything like that, but they don't really show anything. She's just kind of there, and it feels weird. It feels odd. I didn't like it in that sense. And again, I thought she was also defeminized. She wasn't as spunky and sexy and, just out there as she was in the first movie. And even in the second movie, I thought that she definitely got the Nebula treatment a little bit, but maybe a little bit less than Nebula, but definitely not as sexy. Groot was awesome. I love Groot and everything. Yay, Groot! The writing didn't seem as good as the previous films. There was definitely some parts of it that I didn't really like because they had a lot of modern language in there. At one point, Star-Lord actually used the F word, which I thought was kind of weird. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has a ratings of PG-13, so just be aware that there is definitely modern language. I have a potty mouth, so I don't mind it, but I feel like maybe parents might mind superheroes swearing. So I don't know. That's definitely something I took note of. Okay, so with regards to the ending, I'm gonna do a little spoiler thing here. I'm not like it's not a huge spoiler, but just a little tiny spoiler. I did think the ending was okay. I liked the ending because it was happy, and I like happy endings. Basically, what I didn't like about it though was the relationship between Star-Lord and Gamora. There was no resolve in that. And so she kind of went her own way and Star-Lord went his own way. And I thought I kind of wanted this movie to focus on that aspect as well, but the majority of focus was on Rocket and his past and helping him and everything like that, which is fine. But I really wanted that relationship to work. And it just almost feels like in this day and age, we don't really get romances anymore. And it felt a little weird because I thought that there would be some sort of reconciliation with the characters, or that they would somehow end up together against all odds, even though she's lost her memory and all of these different things, that they would somehow end up together because of all the things that they went through. And they are the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I don't know, it's the MCU. Maybe they could have done something to make them end up together, but that didn't happen. And I thought that was a missed opportunity, at least for me. I'm a girl, I like romances. I thought that Drax and Nebula had the best ending. I thought it was really cool what happened with their characters, and everybody else was cool too, but mainly Drax and Nebula I thought had really good endings. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go more into detail about my thoughts when I do my panel review, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, because I have a wedding to go to this Sunday. So that's going to be fun. But I just wanted to share my thoughts with you on the movie, what I liked, what I didn't like. All in all, I think it's mid. I would give it like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's not the best by far, but it's not the worst either. So if you can afford to go, and if you're, just kind of like hurting for movies right now, it's a fun movie to watch. It's fun. It's not filled with the message or anything like that. So I think you'll have fun. Maybe go on a cheap day just so you can save some money. Otherwise, I hope you have enjoyed this review. And if you did, make sure you smash the like, share this video, and subscribe if you're new here. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.